Another day and another update on the situation with Julian Assange. As you guys know, he's left the embassy a while ago because he's now been held by a government to try and find ways to essentially send him to the United States. And this video is simply about why Dominic Raab is now in trouble. This is an embarrassing day for the British government, just like how a couple of weeks ago was an embarrassing moment for the American government and the CIA. What we heard recently that the CIA were plotting to kidnap him, and to obviously all the stuff that they were planning to do, of course, didn't really happen. And bad PR. It's absolutely bad PR. It's embarrassing to be caught. If he's supposed to be secret intelligence, you're not supposed to be caught. Now, this one is it's a lot simpler than you think, because this is just about human rights. Now, Dominic Raab, when he was in charge, and of course, as a senior politician, in terms of having his say in regards to people, the targets who could be a threat to British society, like Julian Assange, he decided to do something quite unnecessary. Now, the story is simple. This is Stella, Julian's fiance, and they've been engaged for about 5 years now, and all they tried to do was to get married. Now, because he's behind closed doors, the government decided to stop this from happening. Now, this isn't really not about the whole debate of WikiLeaks, whether what they do is obviously dangerous or against the system or libertarian or good journalism, bad journalism. It's not about that. This is just simply about why the establishment for both the UK and America keep trying to create obstacles. Feel free to have your debate on WikiLeaks, whether it's good or bad. Feel free to have your debates on Julian, whether good or bad. Also, the debate on whether CIA doing all this dodgy stuff and pretending to go with the rule of law and the process judiciary, have that debate too. This is just about basic human rights, and it's kind of unnecessary. Now, Stella said that this is part of the enormous conspiracy against Julian, and which makes it itself felt that in the whole situation was planned anyway. This was never going to happen. This wedding, she said, that if it had happened, it would have been a moment of happiness, a bit of normality in an insane circumstance. Well, that's true. Now, she says that Julian needs things to hold on to because a daily life is a struggle for him. Well, fair enough. And then it said our love for each other is the one thing which has carried us through, and being married would be another bulwark in our emotional defenses. Now, that's one thing. Then she talks about the whole CIA situation. They have obviously been engaged for about 5 years, 2 children from this engagement. And now the situation is, if we do care about human rights, and if we do care about the fact that we have to go with the process, feel free, you can be charged by the police, by the establishment, but you have to go through the actual judiciary to be convicted, and to obviously then we know, legally speaking, how to deal with you. Human rights is still human rights. It still applies to everybody unless they have completely lost their rights, or at least part of it, for some time. This needs to be called out, because whether you are a libertarian and pro Julian Assange, whether you are a conservative and against Julian Assange, or some right in the middle, the liberals who just want to get rid of him. So it's a bit of a kind of tribal battle right now. But if you do care about, by the way, the whole concept of WikiLeaks, some of the stuff that they did was actually quite helpful. It's against establishment, but it was quite helpful. Some of the stuff that came out obviously did cause a lot of trouble. So this is not really about that. This is simply about the fact that Dominic Raab and the British politicians who tried to make things more difficult, he's going to be sued by Julian Assange. Now, I'm not really sure if this is going to get anywhere. I don't think the legal action against Dominic Raab will be efficient or anything like that, but it's just one attempt by Team Assange to be heard, to kind of obviously get the attention of the mainstream media. But surprisingly enough, the mainstream media are not even talking about this. But we do on this channel. We try to be objective. We try to tell the truth, ask everything that we have to ask, because you have to question everything and everyone, including yourself. I'm Maya TC. Thanks again for watching, and we are the media.